welcome to the BoshNRoll channel. If you want to support my daily Eternal Magic offerings while getting amazing perks like the BoshNRoll Discord community, have me play your deck on the channel, or listen sideboard guides before tournaments, check out the Patreon or YouTube membership program. This channel is possible because of these amazing sponsors. Check them out, all their links are in the video description. As always, thanks for being here. Let's go play some Magic.
Welcome back to the BoshNRoll channel. Today I'm playing Legacy. At the request of Patreon subscriber Something Snazzy, this is Mono Blue Delver featuring Duelist of the Mind, Nathan Stoyer's invitational card, hot and fresh out of Outlaws of Thunder Junction. Hello Nathan, welcome to Legacy. 1 and a blue for a Flying Vigilance Star 3 creature. Its power is equal to the number of cards you've drawn this turn, and whenever you commit a crime, you may draw a card and discard a card. This ability triggers once per turn. Flying and Vigilance means this thing can attack pretty well and block at the same time that it's attacking. Not at the same time, but in the same turn cycle, you know what I mean. I'm a little worried that 3 toughness doesn't line up well against the things that you would need to block as a flying creature, like Delver of Secrets and Dragon's Rage Chandler. I'm also a little worried that this ability plays directly into Orcish Bowmaster in ways that are horrible. But this represents a potentially huge amount of damage on a pretty cheap threat with built-in card selection. On the surface, it's a 0-3 when you're blocking, and it's a 1-3 when it's your turn, because you get to draw a card to start your turn. If you're able to target your opponent's anything with anything, that's what committing a crime means. Like, if we daze their spell, loot, now this is a 1-3. If we brazen borrow one of their permanents, loot, now this is a 1-3. The crazy sweet upside is Brainstorm. Now this is a 3-3. A 4-3 if it's my turn. Brainstorm into Ponder. Now we're attacking for 5 on turn 3 with flying. When we get into the mid-game and late game, Archmage Charm. You could draw 2 cards, make this thing Surprise +2/+0. Jace the Mind Sculptor, Brainstorm +3. Lorien Revealed +3. There's a bunch of ways to make this thing hit like a truck. The flip side, of course, is, as I said, it doesn't block super well, even though it has Vigilance. But Mono Blue Delver is not really about blocking anyway. Also, the Duelist stack. So if you have 2 of these, they are not legendary despite being the Magic World Champion, Nathan Stoyer. If you commit 1 crime, each of them will loot once, and then they'll each get +2/+0. That does scale pretty well. I played Mono Blue Delver on the channel before. Slightly different shell than this. Duelist of the Mind didn't exist, of course. But this deck does have a lot going for it. 8 basic islands in this deck means it's basically immune to Wasteland, which means we also get to play 2 main deck back to basics, which is a hammer in a lot of matchups. The other build that I played in the past did not have Jace the Mind Sculptor at the top end. That's a fun little innovation, just a way to go in a different direction if your beats get stuffed. I like this style of deck. I'm excited to try it. Let's see how Duelist of the Mind shakes out. This is Mono Blue Delver. Win your spot in the World Series of Poker main event in Las Vegas. Club GG is providing 100 exclusive packages between April 1st and June 30th for those who want to test their skills against the best. Each package includes the $10,000 main event entry fee plus $2,000 for travel. Use code BOSH for a free 7-day premium membership that includes entry to these satellite tournaments. I'm on the draw for round 1, and my hand is kind of anemic, but it does interact in 2 ways and has Ponder plus Island. Those are the rules. Opponent's leading on Ancient Tomb and Chalice of the Void. That's not good for me, given the hand I kept, but I do have Brazen Borrower, so we're not totally in trouble. That would have been the best draw, except for this garbage. I also just had to change some settings on my computer. The daily watchers might remember I had to rebuild a video from replays a couple days ago because my computer just froze and crashed in the middle of a recording. I'm working on fixing that, and whatever we did has taken the mouse presets off. Normally I pass priority with my mouse hotkeys, and I'm clicking and pressing buttons like a cave person right now. I'll fix it after this round, but if I make any misclicks, I'm highly susceptible to that at this moment. Okay, here we go. I killed the first thing, but they still have 5 cards in their hand. And like I said in the deck tech, this deck is really built to play from ahead and stay there, and it's not really good from behind. And we are on the draw against a Chalice of the Void out of mono red. Bad news. The One Ring, that's messed up. Okay. Resolves, even though I hate it. They pitched a Spirit Guide to do that, in case that wasn't clear on camera. End of turn, Petty Theft the Chalice, and then try to dump out a bunch of stuff all in one turn. Well, good job. Brainstorm. Get rid of Mystic Sanctuary and an extra land. Fetch that junk away. Get a land. Cast Ponder. Ooh, Wasteland's really good. However, none of these are spells, but Jace is so good. Jace is not better than the One Ring, though. I'm going to shuffle this and drew the Mystic Sanctuary. That actually ended up being a pretty anemic turn, given how excited I was to do it. Opponent's at 10. I have Murktide at the ready. I have Delver in play. They do have Ancient Tomb for mana and One Ring bearing down, and they missed a land drop last turn even after drawing an extra card. Name Sticker Goblin. Okay, now we might be dead. They hit 4. Good job. That's the worst number you can hit. Chalice on 1 is back. And Broadside Bombardiers. This can kill Delver if they wanted to. They have to sacrifice a real permanent no matter what, though. Can't block. Let's see if they want to spend a 5-ball on Delver, or lose Chalice, or lose the ring. They do want to spend a 5-ball on Delver. That's fair. It does appear to be my only threat. Ooh, that was a good draw. If I dismember first, I go to 8, but then I could play a bigger Murktide. I'm going to do this anyway. Yeah, I'll just dismember this thing now. Play all those, get this basic land into play. I have presented lethal. My opponent either has to kill me or kill a 7/7 this turn, or they lose. They do have 3 big draws to do it off this One Ring. Broadside Bombardiers does just straight up kill me, because I can't block it. That's 2, and then they can fling the ring for 6. Alright, hope they don't have another Bombardiers. Oh, we're just YOLO Muxusing. This is a lot of looks at Bombardiers, though. How'd we do? Yep, obviously. Bombardiers is always in the Muxus, in case you didn't know that. It's literally just there 100% of the time. It's impossible to not be there. Now I have to hope they mess up, which would be very difficult to do. Yeah, even just flinging the Muxus is lethal. Yep. Bombardiers was the out, and they hit whatever. Hydroblast, Blue Blast. Counterbalance pretty bad against this deck. Back to Basics actually really good. Force of Negation's kind of bad. It counters Chalice of the Void, but that's all it really does. I'm not going to bring in Null Rod or Narset just for the One Ring. Jace actually seems pretty slow and horrible here. And Daze is kind of unreliable, even though it is pretty reasonable on the play. I'm bringing in a bunch of good cards, though. I don't have a lot of answers to Chalice of the Void, but I do have as many as I play, basically. Like, I guess Force of Negation is an extra answer to Chalice. Energy Flux could tax a Chalice, but they could just pay. Their deck's nothing but mana. I'm gonna play it like this, and if they Chalice me, it is what it is. Duelist Daze. I will keep this hand. Island Go. The Dismembers do a lot to your life total, and I do have 4 of them in the deck. There's Chalice. I'm going to brainstorm in response and see if I need to daze this or not. Oh yeah, I do. Turns out, yes I do. Put back 2 islands, and then daze this. They could Spirit Guide to pay, and then I'm just in the Shadow Realm. Damn, they had it. Alright, well, sent myself back a land, and didn't even answer the problem. I hope they needed that Spirit Guide for something. Looks like they didn't need that Spirit Guide. Goblin Matron. Okay, I mean, I'll take that. That's a temporary gift that is not a 3-drop that just kills me, which they have many of. Got a Name Sticker Goblin with their tutor. I'd really like to put Duelist into play, but I think I have to leave up Dismember now that they've tutored for a Name Sticker. Dismember is a crime, by the way, in most states. I'm going to Dismember the Goblin so it doesn't make mana. Then I go to 15. I can play Duelist and still hold up Dismember. If I Dismember, I go to 11. Oh. We're taking a turn off. Shablamo. Opponent hasn't played a land since turn 2. They just tutored for a mana sink, or a mana producer that I got rid of. That was a good draw. Back to Basics. The sort of cheese hammer we need here. Now we'll see if Back to Basics versus Chalice of the Void. Who's favored there? My 0/3 blocker. Looking good. Basic Mountain, that's cheating. Okay, I draw a card, which gives this thing 1 power. I can dismember the Goblin Matron and get a loot out of it, but that deals 4 damage to me to answer a creature that's dealing 0 damage to me. And it's based entirely on my own impatience because I want to loot away some of this stuff. If I just draw Brazen Borrower, we are cooking. Oh, Archmage Charm, pretty good too. I'm just going to draw 2 cards. Target player draws 2. Me. That's me. I choose me. Hit a land and another Duelist. Now we're stacking. Okay, here we go. Big hits from Nathan Stoyer. And now I have a second Duelist, so Dismember actually is good for 2 to 4 damage rather than 1. That might swing how interested I am in it. Otawara can answer Chalice. I'm not going to play it as a land. The Vigilance was actually really important here. This 1/1, I don't have to think about, like, do I want to push damage or hold back? We were dueling with our mind. I have to think about, or Dress Down probably should have been in the whole time. I have to think about Force of Negation, because that Chalice really is a bad deal for me. I could cut these Dazes. We just saw, even on the play, Daze is unreliable because they're a deck full of Spirit Guides. If I go 0 Daze, what would I add? I could add Narset. She digs for answers and stops the One Ring. I could bring in Jace. 4 mana is a lot when you're on the draw in this deck, though. Yeah, I really don't even want any of these cards in my deck. I will take Jace the Mind Sculptor, though. In the absence of tiebreakers, I'll just take the most powerful card if it's in play. Okay, multiple forces, 2 lands, functionally. In answer to Chalice, I'm in. Gate. A mountain is all they got to start. Dismember. Happy to see that. I don't think I've ever had 4 Dismembers in a deck before. I should probably never say never, but that feels like an insane number of that card to be playing. And it would have to be in a deck that couldn't play normal spells to play that many. Chalice through the Cavern of Souls. Luckily, that doesn't matter. I can Brainstorm in response and still Lorien, or I could force pitching the Brainstorm, or I could just Lorien and let this resolve. So they do have the Brazen Borrower, but them having Cavern makes that less interesting. I'm still going to let it resolve. I am a Wasteland deck. I am a Back to Basics deck. I have my Duelist. Like, if they Namesticker Goblin up into more mana, I can counter the thing that they cast with that. That's a problem with the Cavern of Souls mana base here. Or at least a problem with how a lot of people sequence it. If the more important thing is the big spell that comes out of the other side, like this right here, I'm going to force pitching Brainstorm, and I get to commit a crime. I would like to loot, please. Mystic Sanctuary is probably not close enough to useful. Let's see if they got me with a powerful 3-drop. There's always powerful 3-drops in the deck. Do I think they're going to sacrifice their thing to kill my Duelist? Because I can just dismember this creature. Okay. Up to them now to decide if they want to 5-ball the Duelist. Cool. That's fine. I can put them to 1 card in hand. Yeah, I'm just going to pass with this stuff available. I don't want to see Ringleader here. I also would not be excited about Rabblemaster. Second Bombardier. Okay, well, I can't counter it. I'm going to dismember one of them. I could Brazen Borrow the other, or I could focus on this Chalice of the Void. I'm going to bounce the other Bombardier and just have a clean board for a turn and threaten a 3/1 flyer. Wasteland, a card that's in my deck. Take out the City of Traders. They might have been holding back a land because they just didn't have anything worth, like, the city is better. Like, nothing worth sacrificing city for. And they did just have Ancient Tomb right away. Okay, I am falling behind here, but that's because they've been relentless, not because of Chalice of the Void or anything. Now it's a little bit about Chalice of the Void. 3 flying, and I can't play this Otawara. I'm going to need it, but it's going to be too late. Yeah, them having the immediate replacement for the wasted soul land and then also multiple follow-up threats. There's too much here. I needed them to have like one less thing here, like stumble 1 turn, and they just haven't done that. You could say I should have wasted the Cavern, but at the time I didn't even have a blue card to pitch to force. Yeah, doesn't matter. GG. Got run over by that. But they had turn 1 Chalice all 3 games, and they were on the play. Like, you're 40% to have a 4 of in an opening 7, and then if you add Soul Land to that, it's less than 40%. Like, you need... They have a bunch of ways to make 2 mana with the Ancient Tombs, the City of Traders, the Chrome Moxes, the Spirit Guides. But they won all 3 of the weighted against coin flips to have a Chalice, and then all of their hands also happen to make 2 mana. The Chalice barely affected this game, though. So I'm not mad. I'm just trying to break down what happened here, and if there was another way to fend it off. Like, wasting Cavern, if I predict I'm going to draw a blue card, could have forced this Broadside Bombardiers. But at the time that I wasted the City of Traders, I had blue force but no blue card in my hand. So if they had the land, I couldn't stop it from coming back down anyway. And even with the game playing out exactly how it did, if I had wasted Cavern instead, then I get to force this Bombardiers, but I still have to beat this Rabblemaster that's now made 2 tokens. Could have forced Chalice, but that would have like let me had an Elferin play, which I also just die. Yeah, they just had my number here. This matchup feels really bad. Like I said, we have to play from ahead, and Goblins is very good at putting you behind.
This video is sponsored by Moxfield.com, the easiest way to build Magic decks online. Moxfield supports over 30 formats, including Legacy and everything else you'll see on this channel. There's multiple customizations so you can interact with your deck how you want. Views such as text, grid, or stacks, and groupings like type, subtype, color, color identity, even artist. The site offers light mode, dark mode, and so much more. However you want to see your deck, Moxfield can provide it for you. Follow my Moxfield to keep up with the channel and what I'm playing in paper. I'll see you there.
I'm on the play for round 2, and I hope fixed my mouse. I have, yep, successfully fixed my mouse, which will also reduce the number of ambient key clicks in round 1 of this video. It's tough when you have tech issues and are responsible for content every single day. Not a lot of time to fix that stuff. My goodness. Speaking of fixing this stuff, I'm probably going to daze this. I don't really want to dismember a burn deck. I'm going to put back Dismember and Duelist, and then I am going to daze this thing. I have played against somebody recently using Simian Spirit Guide in a burn deck, and that stuff is scary. I actually should have stacked this the other way around so Dismember is in my hand now. Yeah, that way I don't have to do something like Daze and Eidolon. Though, taking 6 to kill an Eidolon also isn't a great deal. Do I want to Brainstorm now? No. Alright, I'm just going to save this Brainstorm for down the road. Okay, it's turn 3. I haven't taken any damage. I also haven't put a permanent into play. That's stuck there. Goblin Guide and Eidolon. Which of these is going to be a bigger problem for me? Definitely the Eidolon. Ugh, I guess I'm going to end up taking 6 here anyway. Goblin Guide. Pay me. Did not get paid. There's a Force of Will on top of my deck, though. It's a good card to have. Alright, hurt me. Bam. Take a bajillion. Okay, Force of Will in my hand. I could fetch and shove Murktide Regent, which I suspect is probably way better than playing Duelist of the Mind. I'm going to go with that. It costs me a life, but it gets me a much bigger creature and better clock. Here we go. Time to turn it around. They got 3 cards in their hand. Creatures aren't getting through. They know I'm holding Force of Will. Duelist does block Goblin Guide also. Swift Spear. Okay, I mean, if they want to YOLO multiple creatures into a Murktide Regent, I'll take it. All right, no, just holding the fort. Okay, Duelist, get in there. And I think I have to hold and make sure these creatures don't do any damage to me. Please don't have Exquisite Firecraft in your main deck. Stop it. Stop it. I hate that there's 3 mana in the pool right now. Ouch. Hate that. Okay. Well, there's that card. It's a good one. Okay, I'm going to go to my turn. Drawing a land here that casts Jace would be sick. Did not get to cast Jace. I will Brainstorm. I can put back the land and the Jace. Or the land plus Jace. Does that win the game next turn? Huh. Okay. Thinking. Hold, please. If I attack for 4 this turn, then play the other Duelist, that's 7, 8, 9, and then I jam Jace Brainstorm with it. That's so much damage. Okay, I need to be able to cast Jace next turn. I'm going to put back Daze and Misty Rainforest, as this leaves me with Force, and if I Force, then I also commit a crime. I commit 2 crimes, which can loot into the Daze if I need that, like if I'm just going to die. Okay, the reduelisting. Here we go. I have Force of Will up and Lethal on board. And they have a second Exquisite Firecraft, or Riftbolt. Okay, that's fine. And it's not exactly fine, but it's happening. Force, pitching Force. If they just bolt over the top of this, I lose also. Fire Blast over the top. Yep. And Daze doesn't even stop that. Okay. All right. That was tight. That was actually fun. 3 Blue Blasts come in. Flusterstorm, Counterbalance. These are all cards I like. Jace, pretty horrendous. Just have to try to get lower, basically on every front. It sucks that Dismember is the only removal spell in the deck, but Blue's not known for their removal spells. Famously bad at that. And it's not like the deck functions particularly well if it has to play through an Eidolon. Back to Basics can come out. That's an easy one. Gotta find one more cut here. Or I could just not bring in the second Counterbalance. That card seems so good, though. I'm not going to bring in, like, Unlicensed Hearse to turn off Exquisite Firecraft. That's not a thing. I just have to stop all the spells that get me to 4 life. And maybe cutting Force Negation is fine, because I will run out of blue cards to pitch eventually, and I'm bringing in all these 1-for-1 responses, and creatures are the things I'm really worried about. I will keep this. Oh, I probably could have boarded out a Wasteland, actually, if I just wanted more spells. That's a thing you can do against decks that don't have targets for it. Counterbalance, another land, and a 1 underneath the Counterbalance. Let's go. I actually can Dismember this. I don't wanna, but I can. I don't really want to Daze here. Okay, I'm gonna let them have this thing, while it's likely to only deal 1 damage. Now I have to Ponder, Murktide Brainstorm, another land. Murktide is very close to active here. Okay, Brainstorm, Polluted Delta, Murktide. Take the Murktide now, play Island, and I think I'm just going to pass. Suspended a Riftbolt, so that's a 3 on top. Dismember this thing. Take 1,000,000. And now I'm drawing Polluted Delta. There's a Brainstorm on top of my deck. I can just shove Murktide here as a 6/6. I can get Counterbalance down, but I know there's a 1 on top. All right, I'm going to play Wasteland and cast Murktide. I know I'm drawing Brainstorm here. Just trying to flip the clock on them. Just trying to hide behind Counterbalance when there's 3 damage coming down that I know I'm not countering. Seems pretty loose. Roiling Vortex. That's not a card I can reasonably defeat. It turns off the Force and the Daze, so I might as well force it pitching Daze. And now I can set up Counterbalance. That just resolved quickly. All right, here we go. Exquisite Firecraft. I am... Oh, well. What 3s are in my deck? This is counterable right now. There's 2 Brazen Borrowers, 2 Archmage Charms, 1 Dismember still in my deck. I cut the Back to Basics. I didn't board in any 3s. There actually are a pretty high number of hits here. I'm going to Brainstorm in response. It would be so insane to counter this. That's not going to happen. Okay. Put back other Counterbalance and Ponder. And then I will decline to reveal. There is a 2 on top of my deck at this time. Attack for 6. Ponder. Ooh, a 1 and a 3. The 3, I don't need to counter anymore. Okay, Counterbalance, Delver, Brazen Borrower. Don't shuffle. And I'll play my Duelist. There's a 1 on top of the deck. I can't change it. We're in there. We got 1. There are plenty of sequences of 2 cards, like Fire Blast plus anything else that could finish me off here. Maybe I was actually supposed to leave Wasteland up to waste itself in response to a potential Price of Progress. Do I have 1 more damage anywhere? It doesn't look like it. There's a 2 on top right now. Yeah, I can't Wasteland and commit a crime here. There's nothing to bounce. No crimes to commit. It's a sad state of affairs. I love crime. I will pass the turn. And now there's a 2 on top. Uh-oh. I think we're dead. I'm at 2 life. I don't have red to send it back and kill them. No! Alright. Counterbalance couldn't hold because I couldn't manipulate it enough. GG. I've been losing to Burn on the channel a lot lately. Who brought this back? Stop it. Welcome to TopDeck.gg, your community's home for everything competitive Magic has to offer. If you're hosting an event, playing for a huge prize, or advertising your events to thousands of players, we've got you covered. Using intuitive pairing software, playing Magic is a breeze. Players just have to sign up online, then scan the QR code in-store. Give competitors the gift of perfect information as their bracket updates in real time. The self-reporting software saves you time and leaves paper match slips in the past. Leave the heavy lifting to TopDeck.gg so your community can relax and focus on playing Magic. I'm on the play in round 3 with a 0 lander. Going to be mullining this one. Okay, here we go. 2 lander with a lot of forces and a duelist. And keep this in bottom of force. Let's do it. I think I should just fetch. Make sure I don't get stifled. There's only one thing I can get here, and it plays around Wasteland. So just play around Stifle also. Makes sense to me. Oh, another one of these. Oh, never mind. What's going on here? We got a reader. When Simulacrum Synthesizer enters the battlefield, scry 2. Whenever another artifact with mana value 3 or greater enters the battlefield under your control, create a 0/0 construct with this creature gets +1 for each artifact you control. Okay, so whenever another artifact with mana value 3 or greater enters the battlefield. Okay, I don't care about this. Whenever another. All right, yeah, you can have that. That is a huge relief of all the things that could have come out of a turn 1 Ancient Tomb. They bottomed both cards. If I draw another land here, or a 1-drop, I'm just going to Wasteland. Yeah, if I could add to the board there, and now I have force blue card up versus this card that needs a 3-drop to resolve to be useful. We have another Ancient Tomb. Grim Monolith does not cost 3 or more. All right, Delver, what do you got for me? Do not reveal the island. It was pretty unlikely for Delver to be awful here because a spell flips it and a land casts my Duelist. I would have had to reveal a creature to really fail to function this turn. All right, Duelist is in. Prepared to commit crimes. They're probably looking for Mystic Forges, One Rings. There's plenty of big artifacts that would be exciting here, but I plan to counter them. Okay, suddenly millions of mana in the pool. Coveted Jewel, that's what we're doing. I don't think I can let them have this, even though it would be fun to take their Jewel. I'm going to keep Force because this appears to be some sort of Force check deck that I don't want to be checked on again. Though, yeah, I was about to say they could force me back, and indeed they can. Yeah, I could just lose here. Discard this island to the loot. All right. Them having force protection is not something I banked on until I saw the Jewel, and then realized this is probably a blue deck. They pitched Copy Artifact to do that. All right. I mean, Danger Zone. The good news is the One Ring doesn't stop me from taking Coveted Jewel. I can still attack and be unblocked, which is all this asks, unless I just die here. Could also just lose this turn. Didn't just lose this turn. They do have 2 6/6s in play now. I would like to reveal Ponder, in fact. And whenever one or more creatures in opponent control attack you and aren't blocked. All right, I have a Vigilance creature that can take the Jewel. You can't block it. It has flying. Please and thank you. Full grip of cards. Okay. Now what? Archmage Charm can steal a construct. And I have Force backup. I could cast Jace and bounce one of these, which does commit a crime. I'd rather steal it than bounce it, because then it's mine. I think if that's the play, then I want to cast Ponder now. I was about to say finding some Wastelands would be pretty spicy. I got 2 of them here. Don't shuffle this. Wasteland, take out the City of Traitors. I want it to hurt if they do anything. Oh, that's also a crime? I guess it is. I'll discard Lorien Revealed. That's not going to be super important in this game. Or I might be able to win next turn, at which point the Wasteland doesn't matter anymore. Yeah, I will discard this second Wasteland here. Okay, I'll pass the turn. You're up. The Simulacrum Synthesizer, first time many of us are seeing this card in play, certainly me, is it did cost a Lotus Petal and 2 life to get into play at the start, and then it didn't do anything for a turn and a half, and now I actually do have to respect these 5/5s, where if I was just holding up Archmage Charm plus Force of Will on this board without the 5/5s, I wouldn't care at all. I can't let them have Jewel back, and I can't afford to chump with both my creatures. So if they move into combat, or if they tap the ring, I'm just going to steal a construct then. As much as I'd love to just hold up 2 counterspells, I don't think I get to do that here. I get 1 counterspell and 1 steal. They're tapping the ring. I'll respond to that. Gain control of target non-land permanent with mana value 1 or less. I'd like a construct, please. Which also commits a crime. I would like to keep the Brainstorm. I'll discard Lorien Revealed here. The Brainstorm represents a lot of damage off the Duelist. I could also Brainstorm and trade with this construct. Give my Duelist 4 power. But I'd rather just jump with the other construct. Scalding Tarn from the opponent. They're down to 10. Red in the pool. I wonder if this is going to be the mirror. Like how many clone artifacts they have in their deck. I think the mirror can clone artifacts. I don't even remember the name of that card. Molten Duplication. Alright. Create a token that's a copy of target artifact creature you control, except it's an artifact that destroys other types. It gains haste until a turn, sacrifice it. Okay, so if they copy this, they get a 4/4, or they get a 5/5, and they get to scry 2. I don't think I need to fight over this, unless I'm missing some insane interaction here. Oh, they see each other. Okay, so they have one... Or no, they didn't. No, what? They wouldn't see each other. That doesn't make sense. Yeah, these are the 2 triggers I thought were going to happen. Okay. Yeah, new cards, mythic rares, multiple mythic rares from the new set here. It's getting comfortable with the situation. The construct doesn't have haste, just the simulacrum that made it. And they top-bottom those scries. They look pretty dead to me. Unless they suddenly come up with a bunch of initial mana sources that also kill me. Construct is completely blockable. And I will block. Archmage Charm. King of the Depths, shout out. BoshNRoll Discord mod, who loves Archmage Charm. Okay. I draw for turn. I can Brainstorm. Put back these 2 things. Fetch. At Island. Brainstorm again. Put back Island Counterbalance. And then Jace the Mind Sculptor. Draw 3 cards, put 2 back. I didn't need to play Jace here. I'm just having the time of my life right now with this 10 power Duelist in the mind. My whole squad flies. Heck yeah, okay. Alright, lots of new cards in my opponent's deck. Cool stuff going on over there. At the end of the day, it's just Jewel combo though. Dress Down wipes out these constructs. They have the same words and templating as Saga constructs. Null Rod seems insane. Narset seems insane. Flusterstorm. Some of their payoffs, many of their payoffs were artifacts, but we also saw that copy spell, and we saw Force of Will. So I am interested in Flusterstorm. Back to Basics, probably a banger. Dismember can come out. All my lands are good, including Wasteland. Force of Negation, necessary. Maybe Back to Basics is asking too much of the deck. Back to Basics is going to be really good in spots where I have survived a wave of combo and they don't have artifact mana and all their lands are tapped for some reason. That doesn't really add up to a situation that's likely to occur, especially compared to how good my sideboard cards are. Daze might be a little worse here. I'm bringing in other counter spells, and their deck has a ton of mana in it. I'm not cutting any hard counter. I can cut a Jace. Let's do it. Duelist, 10 power though. Put that one on the scoreboard. Okay, 1 land, 1 Delver. No forces, no sideboard cards. I'm going to mulligan this. This just doesn't look like it does enough. I'm not excited about this either, but I don't want to go to 5 just to look for a Force of Will and then have 3 cards in my opening hand. I'll take a risk at this point. The Wasteland interacts, the Daze interacts. Petal, Otawara. Chalice on 1. That's a dirty trick. Makes sense, though. Your deck probably doesn't have a lot of those. I'm not going to Wasteland this Otawara. I'll save that for an Urza Saga or an Ancient Tomb or something. Another Chalice on 1. Okay. Well, I wasn't really going to fight over the first one. So here we go. Duelist of the Mind get in there. Wasting their Otawara next turn is a crime that can loot some of these ones away. Thundering Falls. Right on time. That's a better waste than Otawara. That's a color in their deck, and we have actually seen red cards. Come on, Island. Energy Flux, oh my god. Wait a minute. Now I'm not inclined to wasteland them, because this card is lights out on 3, but I'm not really doing anything else. Like, bouncing one of these chalices with Brazen Borrower just to get a loot isn't even good. Alright, I do actually have to wasteland them to commit a crime. Null Rod, discard Brainstorm. Well, Null Rod's also very good, but I do need another mana before it works. Okay, we're in a tough spot, but we're on the edge of a good spot in a variety of directions. 3 mana. Oh, 4 mana. Oh, Phyrexian Metamorph. This is going to be a Duelist. I think I actually do want to daze this just to commit the crime. I really need to find that X land. Okay, we found one. Discard, probably Counterbalance. That just seems like the worst thing that's going on right now. Okay, here we go. This is a weird, totally different angle of their deck we did not see last time. Now I can wasteland them, commit another crime, push for 2 damage, or I can build up to the Null Rod and then up to the Flux after that, and I'm going to go on Team Null Rod and just hope I don't die this turn by exactly 1 mana. Transmute Artifact. Okay, this can get a 1-drop or a 0. Lotus Petal. Kind of love to see that, as they convert a land into a thing that gets Null Rodded. That should count as committing a crime, casting Null Rod against this deck. I'm just saying. Flavor Judge. Make a ruling. Should that have been 2 damage? Unfortunately, Null Rod plus Energy Flux is a pretty serious non-bow, because then I have to pay 2 every turn to keep my Null Rod. But I hope my opponent will be dead before then. And they are down to 1 Chalice now. I can Petty Theft the Chalice, cast Brainstorm, get in for 1 million. But also wait a turn on that. I'm not going to wait a turn on that. Petty Theft the Chalice. Rhymes. Ooh, alright, Brainstorm can wait. I'm going to discard... Do I think I'm going to need Otawara this game? I don't think so. Alright, I'm going to discard Otawara. I'm going to play Delver. The Brainstorm could find a counterspell, though, which I think locks this game up, but Pressure seems really good here. They don't have much going on. I have one of my best sideboard cards in play. If they just replay Chalice this turn, I'm not that upset about it. I can wasteland them and play Murktide. Delver, what do we got? Island does not flip Delver. Okay, wasteland you, commit this crime. Loot away a Brainstorm. Land. Big ol' Murktide. I think we're in good shape. They would have to remove Null Rod through their own Chalice, so stuff like Chain of Vapor that would normally be an out here is stuck under their own thing. I think decks like this play Raven form frequently. If they Echoing Truth, they then have to go off. Alright, yeah, this is just so many Chalices, it doesn't even matter. Delver, let's get it done. Flipped Revealing Brainstorm, that's lethal. I should have cast the Energy Flux before combat, just to let them know how dead they were. That also should have counted as a crime if I played that. Okay, cool. Just picked them apart, applied steady pressure. Duelist of the Mind got in for 10 game 1, and then game 2 we just had powerful sideboard cards and cheap tempo interaction. Good stuff. We're on the board. Next round. The NYSE Open is a prestigious, long-running vintage tournament based out of New York City. It's returning again this summer, June 22nd, 2024 in Plainview, New York. This 15 proxy event has a $500 entry. That's a lot of money, but what are we playing for? First place gets a Black Lotus. Second through 8th place get Time Twister, Time Walk, and all 5 Moxen. At 115 players, a playset of Bazaar Baghdad is added to the prize pool. At 135, 4 Mishra's Workshops. At 155, 4 Foil Gaia's Cradle. This prize pool is better than Eternal Weekend. If you think it's worth playing for, sign up for the event on melee.gg or use the link in the video description, and I will definitely see you there. I am on the draw in round 4. I'm going to keep this hand that has turn 1 Delver, turn 2 Counterbalance, someday Jace maybe. Opponent mulled to 6 and has an Underground Sea. Thoughtseize, okay. What they take here will give me information. If they're worried about getting clocked, they take Delver. If they're worried about getting locked out of the game, they take Counterbalance. If they're worried about Force of Will specifically, starting on next turn, they probably take Ponder. Okay, so they're worried about Force of Will next turn. That's how I'm reading that decision, which might mean I'm dead next turn. if they just Entomb Reanimate or Dark Ritual Doomsday Brainstorm, blue to Delta. They could also just Orcish Bowmaster kill the Delver. Never worried about that. Dark Ritual. Okay, here we go. Doomsday. And do they have the Brainstorm to set it up? They know about Counterbalance, so they could build a pile with that in mind, unless I'm just dead now. Roughly 1,000 years later, they have a pile. You'll notice their clock says 1940 on it. Mine says 2431. We start at 25. Okay. You're at 8. Delver. Flip Revealing Force of Will. Flip Revealing Daze. I can also not flip. Alright. I guess them knowing about the days is not as important as getting the game 1 faster. Because if I'm only attacking for 1 instead of 3, then I give them so many turns to play around days that it doesn't even matter. I think putting the Counterbalance out is worth doing here. That is disruptive to some things. If I had played Duelist, I would have been able to put them to 1 next turn, but then I don't have Counterbalance causing problems. Knight's Whisper. Alright, deck, come on. 2, 2, 2, 2. Force of Will on top of my deck, which means they can't force this Daze. Alright, your Daze does work. Okay. Can't pay 1 for Daze. They get to Knight's Whisper, and now their zeros work. Yep, here they come. Bummer. So I win if there's a land on top of my deck here instead of a Force of Will. They built a pile around a 0. Wait, did they just flashback? Oh, I don't know if you all saw that, but they just discarded Deep Analysis, started to flash it back. Their life total became 0, and then they Control-Z'd and backed it all up. Did they botch this? Did that Delver hit actually make it so they can't win? Revealing the days? And that's what I was talking about like maybe hide the fact that I have a daze from them after they think they have perfect information versus just dealing 2 extra. And they might have botched the pile here. I was busy narrating, you didn't see what the other 2 cards are, but they can't possibly matter. Yeah, okay, sick. Yeah, they just dealt 5 damage to themselves after I put them to 5. We take those. Dress Down's in. Luster Storm's in. Narset's slow, but she's in. Counterbalance is in. They might pivot onto a creature plan. You always have to respect that at least a little bit. But I'm going to give it the least respect possible. Back to Basics is too slow. They don't really play many basic lands, but also, if this game gets grindy, that means I'm winning. Just like against the last round combo deck, where I have to get to a spot where I am alive and have 3 mana, and they've tapped out for something that won't just kill me. I'm going to leave the Dismembers in. Jace is interesting, but I think bad. Ultimately bad. I don't think they have 4s I need to counter. They don't have 7s I need to counter either, but I do like hitting them really hard. Okay, there's a couple Dismembers still in the deck in case they pivot onto a Shieldred, and everything else is counterspells and creatures that attack. On the draw for game 2, I have Dress Down. That's a potent effect for the late game. I am going to keep. I have Delver, Ponder, and I can beat a Thassa's Oracle if I have enough time to set it up. And the Dress Down is the 1 card in my deck that doesn't care if Thassa's Oracle is counterable or not with a Cavern of Souls. Okay, they milled a 5. That's not very many cards. Duress. Alright. I expect to lose Dress Down here. That is my most potent weapon in this fight. Yep, there it goes. It's just talking about how good it is. Ooh. What's up, mono blue deck? Deliver the goods. I have 1 unknown card that happens to be one of the best cards in my deck. Ponder's fine. They didn't shuffle Ponder. Please Dark Ritual Doomsday. Alright, Fatal Push is fine also. That buys them a lot of time. But that's not really what I'm worried about here. Ponder missed on the land. So I'm just going to shuffle it. Found a Daze. I might end step this Brainstorm. Finding land number 3 and jamming this Narset would be huge. Getting my thoughts seized. I'm just going to let this resolve. If they take Force, I still have Daze and I can Brainstorm into other action. Yeah, they took Narset. They're worried about a long game here. Cycle Street Wraith down to 16. Archmage Charm can also beat Doomsday. You can make them draw 2 cards once their deck's empty. Yeah, a lot of subtle tools in this deck to play against Doomsday. Pondered into Undercity Sewers. And been to Dark Ritual. Now that I don't have Narset, I'm not inclined to end step that Brainstorm. Oh, well, that would have let me cast Murktide. I hit a land, I could cast Murktide anyway. Put back Force of Will and Archmage Charm. This gives me a giant threat with Daze back up right now. I have Force and Daze, then I untap into a hard counter / make you draw your card that you don't want to draw card. Yeah, this looks like they're just going to get buried. Because at this point, they have one card in their hand. It's going to be really hard to set up a single pile, and if they Doomsday, they're at 5. They can't afford to pass. They also can't afford to not. Okay. I'm just not going to cast this Archmage Charm. I could draw 2 cards and try to get something else going, but what am I looking for here? I am already completely gassed up. This Night's Whisper puts them to dead, and they probably just had to cast it because their hand doesn't do anything else. Unless they could kill Murktide, this game is over. Ponder, you got it. Dark Ritual. Okay. They're just conceding, sure. All right. I was going to let the Doomsday resolve because I can't imagine a pile I lose to. And them at 1 is nice. But yeah, that was a mull to 5, and then they never really got any traction. Not that the shields were ever down, because after they duressed me, I drew Force of Will immediately, but it was just about finding pressure and keeping it going. On to the next round.
The official BoshNRoll Island Ponder Keep shirt is available exclusively through Coalesce Apparel. This Magic player-owned business is a staple of our community. They keep this channel on the air, and it's my pleasure to partner with them for this product. Coalesce is the best Magic apparel on the market. They have awesome new designs coming out all the time. Use code BoshNRoll to get 10% off your order, only at coalesceapparel.shop.
I'm on the draw for the final round. This Mystic Sanctuary is the only reason that I wouldn't keep this hand, and I have to think if that is a deal breaker or if my land coming into play tapped is a fine risk to take. I am going to keep this. My opponent, I have seen lists posted under their name with a insanely cool new deck. It's like a rug bean deck built around some crazy legend. It's Eris Roar of the Storm. Hopefully we get to see that. Hopefully that is what they're actually playing, because it is cool as hell. Mystic Sanctuary's in. Unfortunately, if they are playing that, that is also a Wasteland deck. And maybe they just don't have that. That would be great. Thundering Falls. Getting Pyrokinesis. This is the deck. That thing I just said, Eris God of the Storms, or whatever it's called, that is... It's a 10-drop that gets 2 cheaper every time for every different mana value among instants in your graveyard. And then it poops out 4/4 Prowess Dragons once it's in play. Alright, I would love to daze this. But I also don't want to go back that far on lands. But, I mean, this is what I signed up for when I kept this hand. I don't want them to have a Up the Beanstalk, because I feel like their deck is actually pretty awkward. They force the Beanstalk pitching Archmage Charm. I just don't think this Archmage Charm is going to be part of the game ever. Jace the Mind Sculptor, even more funny. Maybe I'm supposed to waste them there. Flip the script. They force pitching a Murktide. Ponder. I'd really like my Duelist in play before I have to pick up my top land again. Wasteland. Here it comes. Yeah, you got me. Hard mode activated. Dragon's Rage Channeler. You also have a 3/3 now, so this Wasteland of mine doesn't even look that good. Okay, I'm not going to waste them. I'm going to try to get my Duelist into play and actually play the game. Taking 3. They got so much mana. I'm glad I didn't try to waste them. Cool. We're unlocked, kids. Duelist is mostly a distraction to get this Murktide going. They have instants and sorceries of 3 different costs in the graveyard right now. This is the card, by the way. I'll reference it for everybody so we're all on the same page. 8 red, blue, 4/4, Legendary Elemental Warlock. Costs 2 less for each different mana value among instant and sorcery cards in your graveyard. Flying Prowess. Whenever you cast your second spell each turn, make a 4/4 red dragon elemental with flying and prowess. This is what this deck is built around. There are 4 copies of this in here. Okay. Now that I can stop referencing a card you've never seen in your lives, let's move on. Fetching in the upkeep. That does get rid of the 3rd card down from the Ponder. That's why they would do that there. I'm not fighting over a Ponder. Eris does still cost 4. They kept their card on top with DRC. There are also Murktide Regents in the deck. which I am prepared to daze. Didn't shuffle Ponder, which is unsurprising after not surveilling with DRC. Those are consistent positions in the marketplace of ideas. There's a pause in the second main, which makes me wonder if they're thinking about if they need to play around days or not. Oh, wow. They're just roasting my boy. Pyrokinesis pitching Pyrokinesis. Okay. Well, I can't stop this from happening. But that does make them hellbent, which means I can waste them off green and then play Murktide this turn. Murktide is 4/4, exactly big enough to party. Take your green. We're in there. And their thing has to attack. Oh, wait. It starts as a 3/3. Never mind. It's slightly bigger than it needs to be to party. Come on in. Water's fine. Gobble, 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 gobble. Sick. All right. Now we're murking. A Cycle Lorien revealed. Get an island. Get myself set up here for the future. I'm ready to daze. I'm ready to force. Jace is just one land away. Cycling a Lorien. We're going to unlock green again. Tropical Island. And no Beanstalk. Delverino. Keep the beats coming. This attack puts them to exactly lethal with this Delver. Lorien revealed doesn't add a unique mana value because Force of Will was already there. Cool. All right. Narrowly survived that one. Unlicensed Hearse. Let's read this card again. Among instant and sorcery cards in your graveyard. Okay, it does care about them being in the graveyard. Doesn't say graveyard or exile. This list has 3 Murktides, 4 Heiresses, 4 Dragon Trade Channelers to actually win the game with. The sideboard I'm looking at right now, this is just from something that was tagged on Twitter, is, here it is, dragon on the screen. Got Heiress Murktide. Sideboard, we've got Meltdowns, no. Submerge, no. Brazen Borrower, yes. Narset, maybe. Pyroblast, definitely. So we should expect Pyroblast out of the sideboard and Force of Negation out. Force of Negation is their only 3 cost instant or sorcery, though. Fire Ice is a 4. Okay. I would like Unlicensed Hearse, Counterbalance, Narset, Blusterstorm, and I want all of my Blue Blasts, because they do kill Eris and DRC. And if 8 of their 11 creatures are red, I don't need Dismember in the deck, because the one thing that's not red doesn't get dismembered. Back to Basics is kind of a heater. Force of Negation can help me win a fight over Beanstalk, which is one of the more important battles in the matchup. But it's pretty bad everywhere else. No lightning bolts, nothing like that. All right, I'm a little suspicious about Back to Basics. I'm actually going to cut them. It is a nice lock if you get them in, but they're so bad if you're behind. And against the Pyroblast deck, it's not even that reliable. Dismember does kill Eris. He's a 4/4. But any spell, or nope, 5/5. Maybe Dismember is worth considering. Is this a no force matchup? I don't really want them to just have Beanstalks resolving. I have no way to remove them. Maybe cut Jace versus the Pyroblast deck. Murktide seems great. Brazen Borrower seems solid. Daze is worse on the draw, but it's good overall in the matchup. I get to keep a Dismember if I'm willing to cut a Force in a Daze. I'll try it like this. We might revise this after board. I will keep this hand. You know, they say social media rots your brain, but I wouldn't have known about this deck and had possibly the full 75 directly in front of me if I wasn't just scrolling this morning. Ponder. So I would argue social media enriched my brain. Made my brain huge and wrinkly. No reason to just brainstorm there. I really don't want them to have an up the Beanstalk. Okay, and it seems like they don't. Good news for me. All right, they're a Daze deck, a Pyroblast deck. They got a lot of good stuff over there. Counterbalance is better the longer it's in play, though. Gonna fire it in. And there's a Pyroblast. You got me. And they have Surveil lands if they don't mind being mono. Is it here? No sign of green mana. Kept the card on top. I guess that means they lose. GG. Brainstorm. All right. And they now have access to green through that Scalding Tarn. They have seen Wasteland and they have not seen Stifle, which means it makes sense to hold on to the Scalding Tarn. Unless they plan on casting a spell right now. Ooh, Force of Will in the mix now. I'm going to start dueling. A Duelist has resolved. That doesn't mean it's not about to get Pyrokinesis. but it has resolved. Green mana unlocked. Mana number 4. That elemental legend costs 8 right now. It's a surprisingly huge number. Okay, up the Beanstalk is a big problem. I'm going to force it pitching a Murktide. I'm pitching Murktide because that's the farthest from useful right now, and it leaves mana up if I want to Brainstorm for more interaction. This Beanstalk is just going to be worth so much, and their deck's so much worse if it's not in play. And my Crime Loot will discard a Brainstorm. I just have a lot of those. And we fended off the beans. Dragon's Rage Channeler is Delirious. Could be mine starting next turn. I'm just going to go to my turn here and draw. Ponder. Gain control of target non-land permanent with mana value 1 or less. I'd like that one, please. Also commits a crime, incidentally. They didn't Pyroblast my Force, which makes me think they don't have that. There was a long pause on my Force, and there's a long pause now. Ooh, backup Duelist. I think I'm going to discard Ponder and just try to get this Duelist game going. That's mine now. Heck yeah. In for 2. I have 3 card types in my graveyard. A Fetchland or Wasteland gets me Delirious. A Creature Dying gets me Delirious. Fetching in the upkeep. Okay, Mystic Sanctuary getting Pyroblast. Looks like they're going to kill my Duelist of the Mind. Either that or set up some huge multi-Insano turn where they cast something like Beanstalk and they make sure it resolves. Okay, they're just passing with the shields up, it seems. I think passing is a mistake. If your plan is to Pyroblast, okay. They were defending a Pyrokinesis. All right. Pitching Eris. Confirmed this exists. Okay, Eris is gone. Unfortunately, I have no spells to cast to make this better. They're holding Pyroblast. Got it. Delver. Start there. See if they want to Pyroblast it. This isn't a decision they need to make right now, though. Seek the Beast in response. Yikes. Exiled Murktide Regent and Island. Okay. I am holding an answer to Murktide Regent, but I know they're holding an answer to my answer to Murktide Regent. Let's hope they get antsy on the Pyroblast. Because this Murktide's going to be bad for me. A Questing Druid is not in the list that I have access to, so there has been some innovation since this hit the socials this morning. Here's Murktide, which makes Questing Druid bigger. Every card in my deck flies. Questing Druid doesn't matter on defense. Might start mattering on offense, though. Daze would be an insane draw here. What Revealing Daze? Duelist of the Mind. Alright, I don't mind another Duelist, if you know what I'm saying. And I could Brainstorm now, or I could save that for a giant swing next turn. That might even trick them into Pyroblasting. Like, if this Murktide attacks, I'm getting back in for way more damage than they're serving. Brainstorm's real good. Oh no, they found a Pyrokinesis. My life is pain. Is there anything I could actually Brainstorm into here that I'd be happy about? Not really. Okay, those are gone. Yeah, if Delver just flipped last turn, that would have been a 1 for 2 instead of a 2 for 2. Now I'm dead in... It's not quite all the way dead here. Or yeah, I am, because if they Pyroblast, then the Questing Druid's bigger. A Brainstorm. I need them to get antsy with the Pyroblast, basically, which they have not done. Okay, what is Storm going to be if I play Murktide this turn? Okay, Storm is 1. Murktide is 2. Pyroblast is 3. Oh, if they Pyroblast on my turn, my spell works. Or I could push the Brazen Borrower through and have Murktide to follow up. Or no, I can't do all of it. I have to commit to a thing I want to protect here. Okay, I have to just... I'm going to go in on Murktide and attack with Duelist. I probably should have Murktided first, because then Duelist gets bigger if I fluster. Hope I counted this right, and hope they just spew it off. Like, they could just go to their turn and play around soft permission. Yeah, they figured it out. And step it, and step it, and step it. What are you worried about? It can't be Daze, it can't be Spell Pierce. Oh my god, we got him. Alright. I did miss a damage here. Alright, if they just waited till the end step, it doesn't matter anyway. Pay 4, you can't. That was a trick question. Trick statement. There was no question. Just tell them they can't pay 4. I don't mind just milling here. Like accepting the crime. You can decline Duelist of the Mind's ability, but my deck does like having cards in its graveyard. Okay, did we successfully flip it? Whose top deck's better from this position? A land, that's not it. They could push 5 damage if they want to lose a creature. That sounds like a bad deal, though. Okay, here we go. We're in this. Suddenly gaming. I would love it if that Brazen Borrower resurfaced right now. Lorien revealed, you're so close. Oh no. I can attack for 9 right now, which turns off their fetch land. Okay. Island cycling. Get Mystic Sanctuary. Mystic Sanctuary. Target Brainstorm. I understand I could cast Lorien Reveal next turn, but I feel like I might need to do 2 things. Okay. If I attack with Duelist of the Mind, I lose. If I attack with Murktide Regent, I have a Chumper and they're at 1, or they don't have Murktide Regent. Okay. They took the Chump. I don't know if they play 2 Mystic Sanctuaries. We're about to find out. Okay, yep, that was just a Volcanic Island coming into play. Another top deck, fingers crossed. If they could cast 4 spells this turn, their creature's lethal. Like if they go Ponder, Ponder, Ponder into Pyroblast, they actually just win right now. But I am ahead. The last and biggest Murktide usually wins these mirrors. Pseudo mirrors, Murktide mirrors. Something's happening. Magic Online says they're paying costs, so they drew a card of some kind. This is a lot of mana. Oh, is it the boy? The 4/4? What's going on here? Yeah, Eris does cost 6 right now. And they have tapped 6. I'm not worried about that card right now. The way they're tapping and untapping their mana makes me wonder if that's not what they have, because wouldn't you just play that? Because that's the only thing you can do. Okay, it was a Murktide Regent. They were deciding what to exile. Sure. Still smaller than mine. I'm going to go to 3 here. I will accept this, because if I can find 1 more cantrip, like I'm going to Brainstorm. Duelist will be 4 power. If I could get it to 5, I actually just win. Okay. I guess just win isn't true, but I get to bash. Get to bash extremely well. Okay. Multiple Hydroblasts are what's left in my deck here. Oh, if they block, I just lose, actually. Oh no. I'm 1 short. I can Hydroblast their land to loot. Shit. Alright. Never mind. That was a huge spew. That didn't matter. Oh wait, I had a forced block. Oh no! I forgot I had the forced block. They should be at 2 right now. Yeah, this was just a... I was right, and then I outthought myself, and then I underthought myself. Yeah, instead of at 2, they're at 9 right now. Oh no. Brainstorm, that's terrifying. Luckily, I can counter a red spell, which is most of their good cards right now, but we don't even need to be in this position. If they draw another Murktide, they're going to end up winning. Please just Seek the Beast or something. Play a red card. No! Alright, that's a blue card. It doesn't solve their problem. They need to find, like, a bounce spell. Because even Pyroblast I have covered. Up the Beanstalk. Okay. I think we're going to get away with it, even though I just missed 7 completely free damage. Alright, up the Beanstalk, draws a card. I chump block with Duelist, and then we attack for 9. Yikes. Okay, block. Okay, little embarrassing stumble on combat math at the end there, but still a good match, and we came out ahead. From humble start, we turned it around for a positive record. Duelist of the Mind was actually dope. Like, is this card significantly better than Ledger Shredder? Unclear. Ledger Shredder can become a 2/4 the first time you trigger it, and then it's better than Delver, Dragon's Rage Channeler, etc. It can actually beat those things in combat. The X3 on this actually came up a lot, especially against that Pyrokinesis deck, giving them multiple kills, where if it was X4 or could get to X4, that would make them play differently. But also, I attacked for 10 with this thing at one point in the league. Ledger Shredder takes a very long time to do that. And I committed a lot of crimes. It's very easy to commit crimes with this deck, in fact. More research is needed. I don't think this is a new Legacy staple, but I think this is a very cool card for a deck exactly like this one. far as the rest of the slots, the Jace was kind of aspirational. I don't know if, like, maybe Jace should be in the sideboard if we expect a matchup to get grindy and we can main deck Dress Down or a second counterbalance over the 2 Jaces, or Flusterstorm, Dress Down. Like, just pick something from the sideboard and switch the Jaces out. I think it's more likely that we board into a grindy matchup than Jace is the thing that saves us in a game 1. Archmage Charm. This was my addition right before the league started. This was not in Something Snazzy's original list. I borrowed this from King of the Depths when he sent me Mono Blue Delver, and it was phenomenal throughout the league. Just always good when I could cast it, and it's not that hard to cast when your whole mana base is Mono Blue. I'd love a removal spell that's less painful than Dismember. Even something just like Vapor Snag or Stern Dismissal might be what we need here. Or even just play 4 Brazen Borrowers, 0 Dismembers. 0 might not be the right number, but I don't know about the other 2 in the sideboard. That's something to fiddle with if you continue to work on this deck. Something Snazzy, thank you for sharing this with us. Everyone, thanks for watching. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. I'll see you next time.